Hey guys, today we're going to talk about converting mixed numbers into improper fractions and improper fractions into mixed numbers. If you don't understand the words I'm saying, you should first go back into our YouTube channel and watch the video about improper fractions and mixed numbers. That will help clear up all of the terminology I'm going to use. So, let's get started. So first we're going to look at converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. So remember, a mixed number is I have a whole and then I have some parts of a number. So this is 2.5. There's two ways we can convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. The first would be by drawing and counting. So I can look 2.5. So I have one whole, two wholes, and my half. So what I can do now is I can count up the numbers. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know I have 5 halves. When we're converting, our denominator is always going to stay the same because all our denominator is telling us is how we're breaking our wholes into. So that is one way we can look at it. We can also look at 2 halves and break it up and add them together. So we know that one whole is the same as 2 twos. And if we don't understand, we can look. This whole, I have 2 of the 2 pieces. We can do 2 and 2 and a half. Okay? So when we're adding fractions, we will always keep the denominator the same because the denominator is just telling us how we're dividing our whole. So we will have 2 on the bottom and we'll count up the top. So we'd have 2, 4, 5. So we would have 5 halves. So there's one trick that is even quicker. So we're going to look at 2.5 again. So 2.5. What you can do is you can multiply 2 times 2 and then add 1. So I could say 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I would have 5 as my top number. And remember, my denominator will always stay the same. So I would have 5 halves. So let's try a few more using the last method I talked about because it is the quickest and the easiest once we get into bigger and more difficult numbers. So this time, let's look at 3 and 2/4. So we're going to start, remember, we multiply 4 times 3. We get what? 12. Very good. Plus 2. Exactly. We would have 14. And remember, 14 goes up top. And our denominator will always stay the same because all it's telling us is how many we're going to break our number up into. So we would get 14/4. So this time I'm going to give you one and I want you to try it on your own and then we will check it together. So let's try 5 and 3/4. All right, let's look together. We would do 4 times 5. What's 4 times 5? 20, exactly. Plus 3. 20 plus 3 is 23. And our denominator is staying the same. So it's much easier to go from a mixed number to a fraction, but we can also go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. So what we can do is we can start with 5/4. So we first can draw this. So I'm going to draw some circles and put them into quarters. I know I'm going to color in 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I can count them up. How many holes do I have? And I get 1 of the 4 pieces. So I have 1¼ We can do the same thing with breaking up our fraction into, we can do the same thing with breaking up our improper fraction into more improper fractions and then counting them. So let's say this time I have 9/4. So I know in 9/4 I have 4/4 plus, so I can do 4/4 is a whole, right? So we remember 4/4 is a whole. So let's do 9/4 minus 4/4 equals 5/4. And now I can do minus 4/4 again, right? And I'm left with 1/4. So now I can count up how many times I subtracted 4/4. I did 1, 2. So I know I have 2 and 1/4. We can do it even a little more simply using division. This is probably the quickest way you're going to be able to do this. So let's look at this time. Let's say I have 10/4. So really what I need to know is 10 divided by 4. So we know 10 isn't divisible by 4. So that means we're going to have a remainder, which is a number left over. That number left over is going to be the numerator for our fraction. So I know that 4 cannot go into 10, but 4 can go into 8 2 times. And I know that I would have 2 left over, and my denominator will always stay the same. So let's try that again. So this time we're going to have, let's do 11 halves. So we're going to do 11 divided by 2. But we can't do 11 divided by 2 because 11 isn't divisible by 2. What we can do is 10 divided by 2. What do we get for 10 divided by 2? Exactly. We get 5. So 5 will be our whole number. And remember, we have 1 left over from the 11. So that will be our numerator. And 2 will stay as our denominator. So this is a little trickier. So I'm going to give you one that I want you to try. So let's look at the number 13 divided by 4. Remember, try to think of what is the closest number that is smaller than this number that's divisible by 4. All right, very good. Let's take a look for ourselves. So we know we cannot do 13 divided by 4, but we can do 12 divided by 4. And what do we get from 12 divided by 4? Exactly, we get 3. We have 1 left over out of our 4. So we have 3¼ I hope that this video helped you with converting mixed numbers to improper fractions and improper fractions to mixed numbers. If you have any more questions, you can write them in the comments and keep practicing. You guys will get it. Have a good day.